3.5 years, I sat in a cell all by myself for 3.5 years because they had to go through, I knew I had a mental illness. And we'll get to I'll answer your questions. They had to go through the computers in the house. That was the big holdup. Reading what was on our computers. Because that would give some insight into our family, my life, our lives, right? That would explain everything. One of the first things my attorney told me on the 27th was Thursday. On Monday, on the 23rd of January, Beau wrote his friend, "My mom is mentally unstable." This is a 13-year-old who's writing his friends, who's noticing his mom. Now, I don't say, "Hey guys, I'm really mentally unstable today." No. They're noticing my behavior, apparently, and they're writing on Facebook or whatever that my mom's mentally unstable. That never came up in the trial because, I don't know, even though Beau's not able to say the words, he typed them on the computer. He knew. But nobody stood up and said she was very unstable. Her whole life, she was unstable.
So you wish someone would have helped you?
I wish I would have helped me. I don't know if I'm helping me now or hurting me now, but this is part of the problem. How you edit this is...
I'm going to run it in its entirety, hopefully. On TV, it'll be edited, but we're going to run it on the web.
The problem is, when I sit on the stand, I can only answer questions. You can't speak freely. So there's where you get into trouble. You can't pick and choose your subjects. But just my husband and my doctor, the two main people, my shrink, Dr. Obregon, and my husband, were emailing each other every day. November and December. This happened in January. Do you know all those emails? I read those coming up to the trial. So I was like, at least they know I was having trouble. Those two people, the closest two people to me. My husband who saw me every day and my shrink who knew supposedly, hopefully, what was going on. And both of them said, we knew nothing. Absolutely nothing. They sat on the stand and said, we knew nothing. And that's when I yelled out, Dr. Obregon, in the middle of my trial. And I was reprimanded, of course, and my attorneys were reprimanded to shut me up because they're lying. They were both lying, and my attorneys didn't show. Look, you two were talking to each other for 2 months. November and December. My husband said, my wife is suicidal. My wife, I've never seen her this bad before. I've never seen her. And he's known me for 25 years. Never seen her this bad before. So, even though I didn't recognize, I'm getting back to after it happens. Now, obviously, I recognize things that have happened. I'm not medicated, overly medicated. I'm not drinking. I'm not drugging. My body's basically clean except for psychotropics. So I can recognize things, but I also recognize how much I didn't know was going on. I came to this prison and a girl walked up to me and said, hi, I'm Lori. We met in rehab in November. This is 2 months prior. I said, what? In Clearwater. She goes, I go, mm-mm. She said, I did this with you? I said, mm-mm.
You didn't remember?
Didn't remember. I spent 3 weeks there, and we were there together the whole 3 weeks. And there's only 20 people there.
You didn't remember?
Now I know, 4 years later, how bad I was at that time.
And at that time?
But at that time, I can't explain anything to you because I don't even know what's going on at that time. So I want you, I am sorry that I can't tell you what was going on at that time.
Do you remember then Calyx's reaction at all?
Ooh, you're in left field now.
And I don't mean to be, but when you say you don't remember anything, and when we were talking about Beau, does that mean you don't remember Calyx at all?
She went like this. And then this yellow thing around her came up and went through the ceiling. And then I picked her up and put her in bed and covered her up. And I sat her up and I hugged her, and she didn't hug me back. And I laid her down and I kissed her goodnight and I covered her up. And then I realized I forgot to cover up Beau, and it was January, so I went and got a blanket and I covered him up and kissed him goodnight. And I didn't see any blood at all. At all. But 3.5 years later, I saw blood in the picture.
But that day, you don't remember?
No blood.
Why did you try to put a smile on Calyx's face?
What? How do you know?
Because I read it.
She was smiling, and this side wasn't smiling. And this side was smiling. And so I made this side smile.
Did she see the gun?
No.
What was she doing when you
I
went
don't
in?
know, because what I think happened isn't even what happened. I told them 50 times, and then at that point they let me read the discovery, and what I kept telling them isn't even what happened. So it doesn't matter.
It does matter, though.
It doesn't matter. They're trying to call me an effing liar. Effing liar. Yes, no, they're effing dead. No, they're effing dead. And then he quit. After 2.5 years. He quit the whole PD. He quit his job. He didn't even, it's not even a PD anymore.
Why did you finally agree to speak?
The reason I chose you over all the other people is because you're a mom, and you said in your letter, this is the only reason, you said that your biggest accomplishment in your life, first you listed all these accomplishments, everything you had done, all these huge interviews. Number one, first only interview, blah, 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 over the years. And then you said, but my biggest accomplishment is being a mother. And that's exactly how I feel.
So what message would you like me to relay?
If you, I'm going to tell you when I told my husband, don't ever put me in a mental institution again.
So you want to
He did what I said. He didn't do what was right. And I think women, I don't want to see, this is very in-depth.
But you think he should have put you in the mental institution?
Yes.
Wow.
Oh, yes. But he couldn't because his career was first.
So your message is, if there's someone...
Our pride, I'm just going to say our, not his, our pride kept us from addressing mental health. And we knew. He just said, my wife's sick. That's what we called it. I was stuck in bed. I'd go weeks without showering. Stuck in bed. Yeah. But I would not leave that house if I wasn't feeling and looking good. So I hid it. I did not want anyone to know, and it was our pride. And for him, it was probably embarrassment. Because it would be unbelievable for people to think that I could be so sick. I didn't talk about mental illness. I didn't talk about depression. I didn't talk about being in a psych ward. I didn't talk about what I wanted to be. I wanted to be proud of speaking out, and I never took this step to be outspoken about mental illness because I was ashamed that I wasn't the big star athlete and the big star soldier and the wonderful mom and the wonderful wife and colonel's wife and all that bullshit. I could not get myself to be humble enough to say there's another dimension. Nope. Too proud. And how many of us are there? There's so many of us. And I'm still hiding it in here. And one of the reasons is because they put you in that damn turtle suit for months and weeks and years. And they do nothing. You lay on the floor, on a mat, in a turtle suit. And they ignore you. They ignore you. And they talk to you like you're They treat you like you're They feed you like you're So you fake it. Come out here, get my makeup on, look at my uniform's all squared away, and then what? They treat me like I'm normal. I act as normal as I can be, but I'm ate up inside. My head doesn't work right, but I'm gonna hide that from you. So I'm gonna put on makeup like you, and I'm gonna wear my lipstick like you, and I'm gonna walk like you, because you're not gonna know I have a mental illness. Yeah, I go to pill line, it's obvious. We have a pill line every night, and all the sickos go down there every night and get our dope. Yeah, not dope, but you know what I'm saying, psychotropics. Yep. And you're laughed at, you're made fun of because you have a mental illness. Yep. You're humiliated. Is there rehab? No. Is there treatment? No. You get your pills. 3 pills max. One mood stabilizer, 1 depressant, antidepressant, and 1 other psychotropic. That's the limit. If you need 2 mood stabilizers, sorry. DOC says only 1. So we might not even be treated right in here. I mean, treated. Mm-hmm. We're treated properly. I mean, treated medically properly to be mentally stable. Am I mentally stable now? Mm-hmm. Hell no. Am I ever? I don't know. I don't know what it would take to become mentally stable. The fact that I'm doing this interview, they're going to go, she is not mentally stable, because who would ever do an interview? Who would ever do an interview? What do I want women to know? Don't be embarrassed. It's so hard. How do you not be embarrassed? How? What's the most embarrassing thing to you? How do you just come out with that? The most embarrassing thing to you, and show the world. Think about it. What is everybody take the most embarrassing thing and then show the world?
Right. So you're saying for women, just do not be embarrassed about this, especially. Anybody.
Well, obviously, because this I've ruined way more lives than I would have ever ruined just being me, mentally ill. And if I would have just come out and said, I'm mentally ill, and I'm dealing with it, and I need help, I would have embarrassed my family, probably, just come out publicly and say, listen, I'm mentally ill, I'm a little paranoid, a little schizoaffective, a little manic depressive, a little bit of personality disorder. But if you knew all those things, you would probably understand you can go insane. It's not impossible to go insane and do something that you don't know what you're doing. Because I've gave you a couple examples. There are many examples of things that didn't end up as tragic as what put me in prison. But I've done a lot of things that were really illegal. I feel my whole life I've been very secretive about
mental illness. And I'm also very secretive in prison. I want to speak out because I didn't take the stand. I regret not taking the stand. Because having this as a punishment, had I took the stand, there's nothing more I could have lost. I've lost everything. My children, my friends, my husband, my freedom. So there's no reason for me. There was no reason for me to not take the stand. They couldn't have hurt me more. There's nothing more they can do to me than I did to me. Man can't hurt me more than this. So there's
there's no reason not to talk to you. I wish I was dead and they were alive. But I feel I protected them. I wish you understood. I wish you understood how I was thinking. Do I? I don't. You will never understand. You will never understand.
But try to make us understand what happened that day.
You know, if you think you're protecting your kids, if you think you're doing what you need to do to protect your kids, you will do anything. Jump in front of your kids to protect them from a car. Whatever it is that's going to hurt them.
So I
saw hurt. I protected my children from being hurt.
And years later, after the trial, you're in prison, you still believe that you were protecting your kids.
Now I know, because I read the Bible in jail, that they are without pain, without suffering, without tears, without injury or illness, which includes the mental illness, I'm assuming. And so I feel that confirmed my thinking that they are better off in heaven than on earth. I just want to be with them now.
So you do miss them?
Oh my God, yes. I wanted to bring you my album, but they wouldn't let me.
Do you still love your husband? Do you miss him? You do?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, 25 years is a long time. Did you date a long time prior to that, or?
Yeah, we did. We dated from 88. And we got married in 91.
Wow, so...
But he said on the stand that he didn't know me when we got married. He said we didn't date before we got married. He said that on the stand. That we didn't know each other, we didn't date, and we dated for 3 years. I can't figure out why people lied up there. He said he didn't know me. And everyone that knows us from 88, 89, 90, 91 was probably watching the trial going, well, why is he lying about not knowing her prior to getting married? Didn't date at all. He said didn't date. A couple times we dated, he said, a couple times. And we dated for 3 years. We went, all our friends that we dated with, co-dated with, were probably thinking, why would he say that they didn't date?
All right, back now with Serena Fazan. Serena, I know you as a sensitive, a compassionate person, but I know you approached this as a hard-nosed journalist, but I know it must have been very, very difficult because of the subject matter, because of who you were dealing with.
It was, Brendan, and you know, I talked to you about this afterwards because I didn't know what to do. What you're looking at right now is she actually asked me to pray with her, and she had left the interview room, asked the guard if she could come back in to pray. I felt so conflicted as a person, but I'm a human being too. And in the prayer, what she's saying to me is she is thanking me for coming, thanking me for doing the interview, to get the message out about Calyx and Beau, and I'm sorry, I get very emotional, from preventing this from happening again.